All right, y'all. We are going to talk about the 5-star passport card. So, there's like 3-star, 4-star, 5-star. Don't totally know all the differences. I guess 3 is like some kind of officer that also is like considered do not detain, but at a different level because they can still be held accountable. I was just hoping to get any of them above 3, and I ended up with the 5-star passport. And I just wanted to give my story a little bit because the information that I found, I had to dig through a lot of different people's videos, and I was specifically searching for somebody that was born in a different country that did this. And I knew that there was a lady, I forget her name, but she had a very strong British accent and she had figured it out. And so I knew it was possible. I just didn't really know how to do it, because a lot of them say just submit your birth certificate from the state you were born in. And I'm like, well, what if you weren't born in a state, but you still want to not be a slave anymore? So hopefully those of you who found this video already kind of know background of what I'm talking about. I can go in depth in a future video, but I wanted to get this out there because we have been wanting to start this YouTube channel for like 8 months, and I had like a hurdle there, but then we had like a huge win this weekend when it comes to the passport card, because we went camping and we were minding our own business, sitting by a campfire, just 3 friends and a puppy. Not a big fire. We were only there for one night, and we only brought like a little bit of wood. Anyway, we got rolled on, and they rolled in hot with the lights on, everything, claiming that we had some like outrageous, out of control fire, which was not true. And it was in a pit, and it was surrounded by rock and dirt, and there was nothing dangerous about it. And we had our shovel, we had water nearby to put it out, and we did right away as they rolled up and told us that we weren't allowed to have a fire. We all apologized, said we had no idea, and then we started questioning, how come there aren't any signs? How come the pits aren't disabled? Because these are just like rock pits. This was dispersed camping, and we've been out there before when there's no fires, and they've taken apart the pits. So we just started asking questions, and they wanted ID, and my husband was questioning, is it a crime? Because fires were allowed up until July 13th, and we'd been out there recently having fires, and there was no problem whatsoever. So he questioned, is it a crime? They immediately threw him in handcuffs, and it was a big old ordeal, right? Well, anyways, we finally hand over our IDs, and I hand over my passport card. And they did write a citation to each of us, but you could tell that there was something different about my card compared to their state issued driver's licenses. And so the main officer writing out our citations was like, Kristen, with your passport card from Canada. And then he went forward trying to get jurisdiction over me by asking, am I a US citizen, social security number? He might have asked address. I don't totally remember. Of course, this was 10 o'clock at night, so drinks were involved around the campfire. So it is a little foggy, but we have requested the footage. So we do hope to be able to like release some of the footage of this also to bring clarity to the situation of what happened. But the end result was the 3 citations were issued. My husband asked, what happens if I don't sign it? They said, you will be arrested. So he signed it, but he signed it without prejudice and under duress, which is very important. We can go over that in detail later too. You should always, anything you're signing, without prejudice or without recourse if it's financial. And then for mine, I asked the same question, what happens if I don't sign it? And he said nothing, like quote unquote nothing. And the sheriffs that were there, so there was 2 different agencies there. It was the fire service, or Forest Service, sorry, and the county sheriffs. And as soon as he said nothing, all the county sheriffs were like, wait, what just happened? So like, we know we're onto something here. He also put my name wrong on the ticket, which was interesting to me. So I went and looked at my card to see. He put my middle name as my first name, and I went to see, like, is my middle name on a different line or something to make that confusing? And no, it's definitely not. It's definitely first name, middle on the same line, and last name is on a separate line. So I think he purposely put a different name because I'm on a do not detain list, and we have their body cams show them saying that we are detained, and they detained us for like an hour. So that's interesting as well. So anyway, they tried to ruin our camping trip, but we're the type of people where get us riled up, and we're entertained by that as well. So I wanted to touch base on how I finally like got through the process as a Canadian to get this US passport card as a US national rather than a US citizen. So on the passport application, it says it can be issued to either a US citizen or a non-citizen national. That's the status you want. You want non-citizen national. It's basically you're divorcing the corporation and you're taking yourself out of their jurisdiction. It means no more seatbelt tickets and stuff like that. I'm not saying go out and be crazy, but it is a way of freeing yourself in such an amazing way. When I got mine, I changed out the plates on my car. So I had already sent in an affidavit of some sort to the DMV asking for them to destroy all my records, revoke my driver's license, revoke my registration. And I did that last year in the fall. We live 6 months in Costa Rica, so for that time my truck was parked in the garage, so who cares. But when I got back, I tried to get my passport card ordered before we made it back to where we live so that I would have it so I could change out the plates on my car. And in Arizona, we got like denied to even submit the application. So I want to talk about that. And then I want to talk about what worked when I got back to Nevada, and then when the timeline of how things kind of progressed. So in Arizona, we went down and I had the application, I had passport photos, and I had my existing passport, which was not expired. And I went in and I said, I would like to submit an application for a new passport, but I have an existing passport. I don't want this, like I want it destroyed basically, and because I want to update my status within the system. And they said, you can't do that. You cannot, if you have a valid passport, you can't apply for a new one. And I tried to explain, well, I want to update like the information in the system. They really didn't understand what I was trying to do, which is not surprising. Many people do not know what any of this is about. So anyway, as we walked out of the post office, and my husband was with me, by the way. My husband is not totally on board with all of this. That's why he submitted a state issued driver's license when I submitted a passport card. So he's with me. He's like helping, but he's like, he totally doesn't know either, right? So anyway, as we walk out of the passport office, a man is waiting for us outside, and he's like, hey, are you trying to update your status? And I'm like, yes, I am. And this was a very important thing for my husband to realize, because he realized I'm not crazy and it is a thing. If there's some random guy in this town we don't even live in Arizona, that also is like, oh, you want to update your status? He's like, I did it years ago. But he asked, who are you with? Like, what organization is helping you? And I'm like, none. I'm just doing it on my own. Because to be honest, I watched everyone's videos on this, so I'm not following one particular piece of advice. I'm following bits and pieces of advice from all over. So just to tell you now, those different sources were Copper Moonshine Still's website. It's just coppermoonshinestills.com. He has a state citizen link on that. He has really good information. You can just follow what he says and probably get your passport. But for me, his is about state born, and I needed a little more info than that because I couldn't just send in my birth certificate like a state citizen could. So Brandon Joe Williams has a website called don'tbeaslave.com. It'll forward to a different website that's got some colorful language, but he has a contract killer course that's really good for a first watch. It's hard to go back and watch them again for further like detail because they're long and he's kind of all over the place. So I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. I'm gonna try to dial it in as I get better at making these videos. Another one is Bad Wolf. He has YouTube and I think Instagram, and he's got some good stuff, but a lot of his stuff is like pay for my resources kind of thing. So I don't totally love all of his videos. And then Christopher Hauser, he has some really good videos. David Straight. Who else? Taquan. Am I saying it right? Taquan. Okay. Anyway, so after the Arizona thing, we had like a 3-week road trip. So I had plenty of time to like think about what went wrong at the Arizona post office. And when we made it back to California, we domicile in California, but we're right near the Nevada border. So I decided to go to a Nevada post office. So I called there beforehand. And this was also a small post office like the one in Arizona. And I just started asking questions and I got lots of no's. No, don't know what you're talking about. No, right? But I just kept asking, and then I must have asked enough questions that it was like I unlocked the treasure box. And so all of a sudden it was like, yeah, we can do it. And I was like, whoa, what happened? But I'll take it. I'll take the yes, right? So I was like down there the very next day, and the guy who I spoke to wasn't there, but I knew he wasn't going to be there. He had already let me know that the next day was his day off. But the lady who was there, super great. She was so nice. She wouldn't accept the passport photo that I brought because it was taken in Costa Rica and it was just slightly off size. So I had to take an unexpected photo, but I just was so happy that she was accepting my application. I honestly didn't even care like what you're always like worried about the photo because you're gonna be stuck with it for 10 years. I didn't care. And she even was like, oh, I don't know if that's a good photo. You want to I was like, it's great. It's great. I'll take it. Because I just didn't want to be difficult. And the photo's not too bad. But so she accepted it, sent it in. And the main difference between the 2 times that I went is I realized I don't need a new passport. I don't even care about the air travel. I don't have problems with air travel with my existing passport the way it is. But there was also something interesting on Copper Moonshine Stills where he says they'll update the information in the system like without you seeing any change on your passport. And so that's when it kind of clicked for me. I don't need a new passport. I need a passport card, which I've never had one before. And so I'm not even like renewing or replacing my passport card. So that way I can do the DS11, which is for the new card. So I submitted the DS11, asked for the passport card, had to send in my valid passport, which I don't love to be without my passport, but I expedited it even though I didn't have a trip coming, which all the channels, everyone will tell you to put a trip in there and like book something and cancel it if you can't end up going kind of thing, and just either Canada or Mexico, whatever. And I thought about doing that, and then I was just like, no, I'm not doing that. So I didn't put anything about a future trip coming up, but I did expedite it because I wanted to switch out the plates on my car. So I got my passport. There was a little snag because I had used a P.O. box because Brandon Joe Williams had said a P.O. box was better because nobody can live at a P.O. box, so they can't gain jurisdiction with a P.O. box. And I have a P.O. box, so I thought, okay, I'll just use the P.O. box. Well, they couldn't deliver the passport card to a P.O. box. It has to be an address. So it got like returned to sender, And then it came, or I had to email them and give them like an actual physical address, and then they brought it, and it still was I didn't give up jurisdiction by doing that, and I still got the 5-star passport card. So I hope this is enough information for now. I want to follow up next video with how I filled out the form and all the details on that, because there's specifics on how to do it. If you're chomping at the bit, Copper Moonshine Stills. All right, thanks for listening, guys, and I hope I've inspired at least one of you out there. Go out, get the passport card. It's totally worth it. It's so empowering. Thank you.